Today, we're digging into something pretty big. We're going to challenge one of the most fundamental stories our culture tells us, that you need a partner to have a complete life. We're going to explore the incredible power you can find in choosing to be alone.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that kind of stops you in your tracks. What if that desperate search for the one isn't really about love at all? What if deep down it's just a fear of having to face ourselves? This one question, well, it sets the stage for everything we're about to unpack. It forces us to look past the romance and get real about our own motivations.
You know, from the time we're kids, we're all handed this script. It's an unspoken story that paints a relationship as the ultimate prize, the grand finale we should all be working towards. But what happens when we just follow that script without ever stopping to ask, hey, is this actually what I want?
So check this out. On the left, you've got the fairy tale we're all sold. But look at the right side. That's what's often hiding underneath. This idea that you have to find your other half is so often just a pretty mask for a deep, real fear of being alone. And that pressure to settle down, well, a lot of the time, that's just us trying to avoid the hard, scary work of looking in the mirror and figuring out who we really are.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of why that fear is so powerful. The psychologist Carl Jung said that truly, fully accepting yourself is one of the hardest things a human being can do. I mean, it's so much easier to get someone else to tell you you're okay, right? It's a way to skip the tough internal work of building your own solid foundation.
And the fallout from living by this script, it's huge. Your whole life can start to feel like you're just sitting in a waiting room, waiting for love to finally show up. Your self-worth gets all tangled up in whether you're single or not, which leads people to put up with things they shouldn't, to ignore massive red flags just to avoid that label of being alone. You end up grading your own life based on a checklist someone else handed you.
So, this brings us to the real price you pay for following a script that wasn't written for you. When your number one goal is just to lock down a relationship because you're scared, you start this slow, quiet process of erasing yourself.
And the thing is, this whole process is so sneaky. It starts small. You skip that hobby you love, or you water down an opinion you feel strongly about. But then it keeps going. You start filtering everything you say, practicing conversations in your head just to keep things smooth. And then one day, you look in the mirror, and the person looking back at you just feels faded, like a dimmer version of who you used to be.
The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius just nailed this idea. He said your soul gets dyed with the color of your thoughts, and if your thoughts are constantly being bent and softened and censored to avoid making waves, well, your soul loses its bright, true colors. You just become this muted version of yourself, painted in the pale color of avoidance.
So here's the bottom line, the absolute truth of it. If you have to shrink yourself to fit into a relationship, it was never the right size for you to begin with. Real connection isn't about finding someone who can put up with a filtered-down you. It's about finding a space that is big enough to hold all of you.
Okay, so this brings us to the toughest part of the journey, but also the most powerful. It's about consciously choosing to be alone for a while. It's about stepping off that well-worn path and starting the hard but absolutely necessary journey inward.
One of our sources has this incredible metaphor for this period. They call it the dark room. And it's a powerful idea. It's about intentional isolation, no distractions, no noise, no doom scrolling on your phone. It's just you, alone with your own thoughts, a space where you are forced to confront yourself with zero escape routes.
And let's be real, this period is not a walk in the park. It's often called the messy middle for a reason. You might feel like your old friends don't get it anymore. There's no one clapping for you, no external validation. It's just you and your brain. And that can be intense. You'll probably have moments of serious doubt, wondering if you should just run back to the life that was comfortable, even if it wasn't right.
But here's how you can reframe that whole struggle. Think of it like a hero's journey. You're facing your dragon. And the bigger and scarier that dragon is, the more incredible your story of transformation will be. Every single challenge you get through is forging you into the hero of your own life.
So how do you actually get through it? Well, the sources give us a pretty clear roadmap. First, get honest about why being single feels so bad. Then you literally have to date yourself. Take yourself out. Go to that museum, that concert, that cafe. Become your own best friend. Then you learn to master detachment, to let go of controlling everything. And maybe most important of all, you center yourself. Every choice you make starts with your growth, your future.
And if you can make it through that lonely chapter, you get to the reward, and it is so worth it. This is the point where being alone stops feeling like a punishment and actually transforms into a superpower. It's how you build a version of yourself that is truly, deeply unshakable.
I mean, this slide says it all, doesn't it? 100%. Think about what that actually feels like. You get to keep 100% of yourself. No more negotiating your thoughts, no more watering down what you want to fit someone else's life. This isn't about being isolated. It's about being sovereign.
One of the biggest things you gain from this journey is something called emotional independence. Now, this doesn't mean you become cold or that you don't care about people. No, it's about freedom. It's the ability to stop absorbing everyone else's moods and anxieties like a sponge. You learn how to be your own anchor, to create a stable world inside yourself that doesn't get tossed around by someone else's storm.
And this brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer, the huge difference between loving from a place of need and loving from a place of choice. See, love from need is fragile. It's about finding someone to complete you, to fill a void. But love from choice, that comes from a place of sovereignty. It's totally different. It's about being so whole and happy on your own that you seek a partner to complement your amazing life, not complete it. You're not trying to fill an empty space. You're sharing your abundance.
Really, it all boils down to this. A healthy, amazing relationship should be an enhancement, an awesome addition to a life that is already full and rich and meaningful all by itself. A relationship isn't the main event. It's a beautiful bonus.
And that means the absolute best thing you can bring to another person isn't a half-empty cup for them to fill. It's the fullness of who you are, unfiltered, authentic, and completely whole. That's what real connection is built on, not on chipping away at yourself to make someone else happy.
So we'll leave you with this thought. That cultural script we talked about, it's just a story, and it's one you absolutely do not have to follow. You have the power, right now, to pick up the pen and become the author of your own life. So the only question left is, what are you going to write?